Anybody ever seen this documentary called Hangover? Anybody's ever seen this documentary called Hangover? We have one of the leading stars in this documentary, Hangover, here with us. If he's in the building and he's got the mic on, extremely sexy, very handsome, somehow connected to the CIA. Some people say nobody believes it. Give it up to the one and only Bryan Callen. Where you at, Bryan? Come on up here, Bryan.
Come on.
Grab a seat, grab a
Bryan,
seat.
come around, come around.
Let me give you guys a few things that we have seen so far that I don't know how much of it you're watching closely. This is what we know so far. Let me read this to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how many of you are familiar with the bomb threats that came in Georgia? Has anybody been following that story? So apparently there's bomb threats in Georgia, and then what do we find out? That it was an employee, apparently, that was a part of it.
A pollster.
Right? Number two, Obama and Chuck Todd comes out, Chuck Todd on, is it MSNBC or CNN? Yeah. Chuck Todd comes out and he says, Nevada will take a week to count. How many of you guys think a small state like Nevada should take a week to count? Then we have Pennsylvania DA. Did anybody hear what he said? If you haven't seen it, Rob, can we play the clip of Pennsylvania DA? This is a guy that I think one of the committees he's a part of, George Soros, gave $1.7 million. And here's what this guy named Larry Krasner, Rob. If you have that clip ready, let's show it to the audience. Here's what he had to say earlier. Go for it, Rob.
I want people to be reassured that when they get up tomorrow to go vote, if they have not voted already, that everybody in this city is working and has been working for months to make sure that there will be nothing tough about that experience and nothing to fear in that experience. But I also want to be clear, anybody who thinks it's time to play militia, F around and find out. Anybody who thinks it's time to insult, to deride, to mistreat, to threaten people, F around and find out. We do have the cuffs, we do have the jail cells, we do have the Philly juries, and we have the state prisons. So if you're going to try to turn an election into some form of coercion, if you're going to try to bully people, bully votes or voters,
you're going to pause that. Bryan, how do you process that? How do you process the district attorney, one of the DAs from Pennsylvania, threatening everybody if you're not happy with the results, if you're not happy about what's going on, F around and find out? How do you process that?
I think that is...
Can we get his mic on, please, guys?
My mic off?
Can we turn on his mic? Vinny, your thoughts on this here when you hear it?
I mean, is it a surprise, Pat? It's funny how only the swing states and only the battleground states, the computers are messing up, people are getting told to go home early. It's like, it's the same playbook every single time. Then when you hear the guy from Nevada, Chuck Todd say, hey, it's gonna take 3 weeks, it's gonna take 4 weeks. Which country had an election PBD and they had like, what, 20 million people and they voted in 1 day, done deal, finished. So I think it's ridiculous, and this is the game plan. This is the game plan for
By the way, Rob, can you pull up what Barack Obama tweeted earlier? I just want to kind of show you guys this tweet. And I'm wondering, how do you process a tweet like this? This is a former president, a two-term president. For Democrats, he's a hero for many. And he was one of the presidents that when he won, they called it very early. Rob, if you can pull up this tweet that came from him, right here. He said it took several days to count every ballot in 2020. And it's very likely we won't know the outcome tonight either. So please keep a few things in mind as you make your voice heard today. Thousands of election workers around the country are working hard. Respect them, thank them. Don't share things before checking your sources. Let the process run its course. It takes time to count every ballot. How do you feel about this, by the way? Rob, can you show what my response was to him with the tweet? If you can show, here's what I said. I said, Barack, how do third world countries with inferior technology to ours manage to count their votes in 1 day? Respectfully, this is why people don't trust you. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Tom, your thoughts on that? Should it take that long for the greatest country in the world to count it?
I think it's obscene. It's an insult to the technology that America's built. It's an insult to the backbone of America, which has been honesty and integrity, and we've been getting it right. The only reason this is taking longer is people want it to take longer, because we can do it in a day. Look, if they want to get our taxes done by April 15th, they managed to put a deadline out, and they managed to be able to count. So it's pretty obscene that an ex-president would be saying this unless he's maybe pandering to his own machine.
Bryan, how do you process it?
To me, I think essentially this is just showmanship. And in today's world, political world, you are rewarded for amplifying your monologue. So it doesn't matter. It's become,
Whoa.
I have a very strong voice. Sorry, that's my theater voice. But you know, nowadays, you are rewarded for being a tyrannical centerpiece, not for being somebody who's there to solve problems. It's just, there's no currency in that. There is currency in creating a good guy and a bad guy and making sure you're the loudest person.
By the way, can you guys hear him? Can you hear him or no? Just so you know, that's intentional. That was on purpose. We don't want you to hear him. He pissed me off by being 10 minutes late. I said mute him for the first 10 minutes.
What's he saying?
So that is not an AV issue. That's a Bryan Callen. We love him as well.
Was that too neutral?
We're gonna figure this thing out. Adam, where are you at with this?
Well, mic check. Can we hear each other okay? How are we feeling? All right. So, by the way, before I even say anything, can we just give a shout out to PBD for putting this whole thing together? Look at the size of this American flag. Look at you guys. Clap it up for being here. We're going to be here all night.
Wait, Patrick,
sir.
I wasn't saying that about you. Did you think I was saying that about you? I was saying that about Barack.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Oh, okay. Because I want to make sure that I like what you said, but what I was saying about Barack or all these guys that posted.
Bryan, we got to get your mic checked.
I'm sorry?
We got to talk to Eddie. You don't remember Eddie? We got to get your mic checked. Come on.
No, I agree with what you're saying here. I think that's very true. And I think we're losing trust.
By the way, like if you think about it, why would somebody tweet that? Isn't the goal to get the results in today? Why would anybody in the right mind tweet that? Let alone anybody happens to be the president, the former president, to say something like that, where you would even consider him maybe the voice of the left.
I do think everybody's afraid of where their information is coming from. And I think it's the first time in a long time where none of us can agree on even the source of where we're getting our information. So if I say to you, I heard it on CNN, you stop me before I can even finish my sentence, right? Or if I say to somebody who's liberal leaning, I heard it on Fox, they stop me before I get it out. So I think that might be kind of where we're at, and I don't really know how to navigate that space. What's true, what's not, where's it coming from? So,
Vinny, where are you at with it?
Mina?
Where are you at with it?
Barack Obama has been one of the most divisive presidents, people in the history of the country. Period. Can you guys hear that? One of the most divisive. All the only change that happened is people started hating each other more, and everybody became just anti-everybody. Everything was about race. And I think him coming out, what's the last thing? What did he say the other day too? Spreading lies. Do you guys remember the whole, there's good people on both sides? He was pushing that the other day as well. And I think it's time for this guy just to disappear. And I hope after this election he's gone. Period. Done deal.
Okay, so which one of you, maybe Tom, I'll come to you, because Tom is very analytical, data-driven, logical. What's your position tonight? Where are you at, percentage-wise, Trump winning or Kamala winning tonight, based on what you're seeing with the polls?
What do I see right now? Kind of what my call was as the polls were closing. What is my call right now?
What do you think is going to happen tonight based on the stuff you're seeing?
Got it. What I think is going to happen tonight is we are going to see North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida go. As a matter of fact, Florida is probably less than 20 minutes away from being called. It's that strong in the rural counties already in the great state of Florida. So, however, we saw what was going on in Bucks County. We saw what was going on in Philadelphia. Trump, I believe, has the early vote and the mail-in vote. Was very strong Republican registration. You don't know who voted in those, but you know who registered. And what we see here is, I believe Pennsylvania should be Trump's, but I don't trust Philadelphia and I don't trust Bucks County. Because if they call Philadelphia, the mainstream media knows they're calling the race. So I look at Pennsylvania and look at the Democrat machine in Philadelphia wants to hold back that state. But I think it holds back the inevitable. That's how I see it.
Adam.
As far as odds?
Odds tonight. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Okay. Well, we're going to call some people out real quick. Can we go back in history just a second?
Sure.
Okay. Audio okay out there, guys? We doing okay?
Yeah.
Make some noise if you're voting for Trump this time around. I know we have a huge Kamala base out there. Make some noise over at the Kamala camp. Awesome job, guys. I think in 2020, a lot of people don't understand that Joe Biden was actually the favorite. I think due to COVID and just sort of, whether you want to blame it on the media or blame it on Trump, a combination of both, the country was sort of over Trump. But it's almost like a breakup with an ex until you start dating someone else and you're like, the ex actually wasn't that bad. He might have told me the things that I was uncomfortable hearing, but he was right. You're starting to see a lot of things out there saying Trump was right. Have you seen this thing out there? Trump was right. So this time around, Vegas has Trump up 60% to 40%.
Vegas has Trump up 60 to 40.
So it's basically the exact same odds Biden had with Trump last year. Trump has a little bit of better odds than Kamala this year.
Okay, so did you guys hear what he just said, or you want me to repeat it? Who heard what he said? Did anybody hear what he said? Okay. Vegas, by the way, just so you know, the AV team is figuring out, it's great on YouTube. You guys, they're going to figure it out in the room. Vegas odds last time in 2020 had Biden winning. Vegas odds this time has Trump winning 60-40, a bigger lead than what they had last time with Biden winning.
Right.
And that's Vegas. Vegas doesn't like to lose money.
To kind of just, to put it in pollster terms, everybody knows the race is to 270, right? So if it's a football game, if you've ever bet on football or basketball, any sports out there, maybe I'm admitting I had a problem at one point in my life, there's something called the over-under. So Trump's over-under, if you want to place a bet, is 280, meaning they're expecting him to win by at least 10 points. Kamala's over-under is 256. So I say this all the time, I don't trust Pew, I don't trust Quinnipiac, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, none of it, because they have no accountability. Who has accountability is Vegas, because if they lose, if they're wrong, you know what they got to do? Pay up. So FTM, follow the money. Vegas has their money on Trump.
How many of you have been following the podcast for a few years? Who's been following it for a couple years? How many of you have seen the evolution of our friend here, Adam Sosnick? Who's proud of Adam, what's happened to him the last 2 years? Can we all on three say, I'm proud of you, Adam? 1, 2, 3. They're proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
They're very proud of you on what's going on.
And I just posted a video on Instagram showing, I said, shh, don't tell anybody.
Like that?
But I showed proof that I voted for Trump this time around. Thank you. I think what it comes down to is if you told me in 2020 that I was going to vote for Trump, I would tell you that you were crazy. Oh, I'm not going to vote for that guy. If you told me in 2024 that I was going to vote for Kamala, I would tell you that I'm crazy. So I said a year ago when the election hit up that the lesser of the two crazies is going to win this election. And Trump was, for all intents and purposes, pretty disruptive. And then whatever's happened with the Democratic Party, it's unrecognizable. If you've ever voted for Clinton, or if there's older people here, JFK, the Democratic Party is completely unrecognizable, and you have to vote with your pockets and you have to vote with your actual ballot to get rid of this administration.
Going back to Bryan, if you can maybe bring the mic a little bit closer to you. Bryan, when you and I spoke earlier, you're a little bit skeptical. What are you concerned about?
I'm not skeptical. I am because I'm very worried about how blatant the mainstream media has been in essentially doing whatever they can to make Kamala Harris look good and reporting nothing good about Donald Trump. So that I don't worry so much about fraud, but I worry that the fix is in that sense. But what I'm really rooting for is if Trump can win this, it'll be a huge FU to the mainstream media. And in fact, and by the way, and it's really important, but also the lateral cooperation between the mainstream media and big tech and Hollywood. And that is a very strong force. But I think the American people are stronger, and what it'll show is that you don't get away with trying to control a false narrative. And they almost did. But the fact that this woman has said absolutely nothing, couldn't answer one question, and the race is this close, makes you realize how strong those forces are on the other side. Yeah. And that's the biggest threat to our democracy. It isn't Donald Trump. That's what I think.
And Pat, and for all the people that have been supporting him since he announced, doesn't it feel good to finally say, we told you so? From the beginning. And Adam, I feel what you're talking about he was crazy. If from the moment you announced that you're running, Obama's DOJ and everybody were spying on you, planting stories, Hillary Clinton, Russia collusion, fake impeachments, shooting him in the head, all that, you would act crazy too. So we weren't crazy, he went crazy. It's taken 8 years for the other side to finally go, oh my God, you guys were right. And I keep telling them, we told you so from the beginning. That's how I roll.
That's why he's the angry patriot.
Damn right, and I'm sweating.
No, I agree. You take a look at the first, 40 days of her campaign. The mainstream media gave her 97% positive coverage when she wouldn't even go out and conduct an interview. She wouldn't sit with a reporter. There was nothing to it. She was basically hiding in the same basement that Joe Biden hid in when there was the pandemic and he ran in 2020. And the mainstream media gave her a pass. A month and a half, they didn't do anything. And so Donald Trump or anybody on the conservative side, you have to beat your opponent, you have to beat the mainstream media, and you have to beat your own government that is trying to put censorship on things like X and social media to fight you. If you're a Republican and you win an election, you won it 3-0.
Amen.
I think, guys, if we look at the possibilities of what could happen tonight, it's really one of three things. If we really think about it, one is what? Trump wins.
Yes.
2 is Kamala wins. What's 3? Nothing.
We don't have an answer.
No decision. Yeah. Okay. So let's then process who winning. Trump's either going to win by a landslide,
yes,
or Trump's going to win a real close race. Then Kamala wins a close race,
yeah,
or a landslide.
No landslide.
No one's thinking Kamala's winning by a landslide.
No.
Okay. What happens if there is no decision tonight? What happens if there's no decision tonight and they delay it? How will the American people react? And what happens if Trump wins? What happens if Kamala wins? Bryan, I'll come to you first.
So I think if Kamala wins, I think we're going to have divided government, and I think what we'll have is a Senate that is primarily Republican. What that means is, in fact, for the next 4 years, not much will happen. There won't be a whole lot of legislation. That's a good thing. That's what the founding fathers wanted. They wanted government to move at a glacial pace. If Kamala wins, that's if Kamala wins. If Trump wins, he's now got the Senate, and the thing that I always keep telling people is that the people around Trump and the people that support Trump believe in what? They believe in individual liberty. And if you look at his record, for the most part, he's a lot more hands-off than he is hands-on. That's the whole point of removing regulations. You know, you will hear people talk. Just pay attention to how the left talks. What they talk about is they want government to step in and socially engineer equality because it'll make the world a better place. And the only way you do that is by holding people who have ingenuity and take risks down. And that's not what made this country great. It's what'll cripple us. So that's what I think.
By the way, that was a great breakdown. Just so everybody knows, right now, our stream on YouTube, we have 144,000 live concurrent on right now. And anybody that tweeted, watching PBD podcast, it's officially trending on Twitter. So kudos to everybody that did that. If you're watching that, tweet that out, watching PBD podcast. Vinny. Trump wins, Kamala wins, no decision. How does America react?
If Trump wins, I think it's vindication, I think it's celebration, I think it's happiness, I think everybody's gonna be in a good place. But that cues the left, all the agitators, all the Antifa, they're all gonna get mobilized. Trust me when I say that. If Kamala wins tonight, guess what? We'll take it, we'll take the loss, but guess what we're not gonna do though? We're not gonna burn down our cities, we're not gonna do all that crazy shit, but if we find out, Pat, that all the polling stations and all these numbers and all this shit is all rigged, then there's gonna be a problem. If there's a draw, well, not a draw, I'm sorry, if it's delayed and they're playing that whole 3 months, 2 months, whatever, that's when it's gonna start getting restless, because guess what? We didn't do anything when they shot our president in the head. We didn't do anything. Everybody was chill. I think that would be the last straw. I think so.
Do you have any different perspective
Yeah,
on what they said? Go ahead.
So I think one of two things is going to happen. I think if Kamala wins, I don't see our country being united at all for at least 4 years. I think Trump has a very unique opportunity. If he wins again, think about you're familiar with the hero's journey? Trump is on his hero's journey vibe right now. And to come back again, this is going to be the second time in American history where a sitting president lost and came back and won, and I think that's going to happen. The last time that happened was Grover Cleveland in the 1890s. So I think Trump will be vindicated. I think there'll be an opportunity for him to bridge the gap. And then eventually, the biggest gap right now in our country, it's not blacks and whites, it's not Jews and Muslims, it's not diploma divide, it's the gender divide. This is the largest gender divide that we've had in the history of our country. Trump is up, I think, 18 points on men, and Kamala is up 16 points in women. Men and women need to get back together and start making some babies. If Trump wins, I might do it tonight, guys. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. With a woman, no men are getting pregnant. I don't care what you say.
By the way, can somebody find this guy a wife or something? If you know somebody.
Can we give a shout out real quick? Speaking of, I see our PHP friends right here. Sapala, Adolfo Hart. I see our guy.
Hold on, can I give a shout out? Little Pump is in the house.
Pump out in the house.
Little Pump is in the house.
I know Dave
Let's go, baby.
Here. I see my
Little
friend
Pump.
Rabbi Benny
Why
out
don't you
here.
come on up here? Why don't
Yo,
you come
Pump,
on
come
up
on,
here?
Pump.
One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was joining the U.S. Army. When I served the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, the level of pride of America being the greatest country in the world went to the roof. If you are a veteran, or if you support veterans, you have family members, Veterans Day, we have brand spanking new gear for you to choose from, a whole plethora of options of what to choose from, with shirts that say we support armed veterans, I am an armed veteran, dog tags, shirts, hats, all of the different gears that we have. And for the first 250 people that place an order, you have the option of 12 to 15 brand spanking new mugs that we have. One says Angry Patriot, another one says BizDoc, another one has got the US flag, another one has PBD Podcast or Valuetainment or A Future Looks Bright. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order for Veterans Day. These things are gonna go very quickly, and you'll get a custom mug that'll be sent your way.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.